Right guys, we're back again. We're now at the final stage of putting this all back together after we've done a little bit of wood treatment. We just got all the grime off, just put a nice bit of linseed oil on it just to give it a nice feel, and just done the same with the metal work really. So what we've done, we just took all the grime off the metal, put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then we actually got a little Dremel tool out and buffed it all up and basically got it so it looks nice and clean. So we're now going to put it all back together. We're going to start off with getting our piston in, and what we've done, we just found some old work gloves and we cut a couple of pieces out and soaked them in oil for a few days, and then sourced a screw that would sit nice and flush like countersunk, so it won't hit the end of the receiver as the piston goes forward. So this is going to be a tight fit because that's been soaked and you want a nice tight fit. So just work it past the threads and then that will go in, and then you have to just push it through there. Right, I've just got the piston in, and I've got it lined up with this entry with a fat little hole that's been put in there. We're now going to put the cock and lever in, or the arm for the cock and lever. So we'll get that, make sure that's seated, and then just push that piston down, and then you've got your arm there. Right now we're just going to put some grease on the insides to stop the piston wearing on the inside, and then we'll obviously do the same when we put the spring in. Right, so before we get this barrel put back into the main receiver, we are just going to put a little bit of grease on some of the parts that we're now going to have to use. So we're now going to have to put a little bit on there. What I've done is just slide it in there, and as I've got it all over my fingers, I might as well grease this bit up as well. And so what we're now going to do is just slide that in there and that in there, and I'm gonna just wipe this. Right, so I've just turned this round so you guys can see it, and basically use it as a pin to set the cock and arm, which is a little bit tricky. There we go, I've got it. So that's now sitting in the middle of the cock and arm. So now I just got to tighten it down, and always remember to try and get the best fitting screw head as possible. I'm going to have to flip it over again. Right, you need to have pressure on the barrel and the receiver to get this screw started, so I'm just going to try and slide this in while keeping my forearm on the receiver and pressure on the barrel. Right, I've got it started, so now I'm just going to lift this up and use the table, and then I just pushed it in. So now, right, and because this also has a lock and screw, you've got to, hopefully that will tighten up and match. There we go. So I'll just bring it back a little bit, and then find my little lock and screw, Now this is everything should be back together properly, so I'm going to push down on this and that should release the break the barrel, and that's all working. Cock and levers sitting in the where it should be, and it locks back solid. So we're now going to move onto the back end of the rifle. Right, now we've got the front end of this rifle put back together. We're now going to put the trigger in, so I'll just move that there, and from what I can remember, this little spring sits with the long flat, or the long straightish bit goes into the hole, and your short little bend sits behind the trigger. So, and you've got that little bit in there where your springs sit. So you just set it in, and then I'm going to try and line it up. And this is the longish pin. Right, I've got the pin started, so now I'm going to screw it down, and hopefully the trigger will be in the right position. That's now in nice and tight, so what we're going to do is now grease up our main spring and screw this rifle back together so it'll actually start looking like a rifle again. Right, so now we're going to use some grease. And we're just going to deliberately coat the spring. You don't have to have it dripping in it, you just got to make sure every part of the spring's got a nice bit of grease, because you don't want it binding under tension. So that is now nicely greased, so just make sure you get a bit on either end of the spring as well, and we're going to grease up where that's going to sit in this tube. And now I'm going to put the spring. Right, so now we're going to sit this on the plunger, and now I'm going to rip this glove off. And I'm going to take both halves of the rifle, and I'll try and do this on camera, but this might be tough to do one-handed, so I'm going to have to stand the rifle up and use the table. I've got it started. It's such a simple and brilliant design. Just screw on and off your stock, and this, basically you can get at everything. So now we've done that, we're going to get the trigger guard on, and that's basically it. Right, so now we've got it all done, we're now going to get the trigger guard in, and you can actually set your trigger on this one, so we'll then get that in, but we'll sort that out with the weekend because this might be nice weather, so we hopefully get this and the AK that we've been done on in our other project out shooting at the weekend, and then have some footage for you for that. So we're just going to put this back together. So I'll take your wood screw for the wood bit. I'm not going to put it down too tight at the minute. And then I'm going to take this one. That one's nice and tight. That one's nice and tight. So now, like, because it's got adjustable trigger, I haven't actually moved to this bit, so that should near enough feel how it was. I just found out that my mate did actually adjust this, so we'll have to do some testing with it when we get it shooting, hopefully at the weekend. So I'm just gonna screw it in by hand, and the rifle is back in action. So now we're going to do the last pit on this rifle, and all we got to do is find a little O-ring that will fit in there. Nothing too fat, because we don't want it catching on the inside and splitting and breaking the seal, so we want something that will barely come over the edge of this metal. So I've got a little set of O-rings, about a $5, and yeah, hopefully there should be one in there that we can find and get it fitted, and then we can start test shooting it, hopefully. Right, so I'm going to go for this one. That's not like wide enough to fit the whole channel, but I think that's thick enough to give a good gas seal, and that's all you're looking for really. So what we'll do, we'll just put this on just so we can test fire it and make sure everything's going well this weekend. And then what I'll do, I'll probably custom make a nice flat washer to go in there, so we get a nice seal and that looks the part. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to push this on and just, I think that is now ready to test fire. Right, so we're now actually going to give this the first cock since we've had it. So I'm now going to just push that in, break the barrel, and I've got a little bin full of rubbish here that nothing's going to go through, just in case a bit of dirt or anything does fly out at anyone and it's not pointed. So just see what the trigger's like. That's a very light and crisp trigger, so I'm pretty impressed with that, and it give a nice kick. So I can't wait to get this in the range, but this is the end product of our hard work, and I can't wait to get this on the range. So hopefully come back in a few days and we should have the range fitted for you next week. And thanks for watching.